For this particular painting, the title is rather direct. Not something I always do or enjoy, but here it felt urgent and necessary, so it is a direct title. Devoured by Divide, referring to polarization. We are all martyrs, referring to collective suffering and how the first is a catalyst for the latter. I made a similar painting in terms of its composition and format around approximately 5 years ago, which was in oils, grey colored with a low contrast, at the time when I was just discovering Pina Bausch's Rite of Spring and how it could help me visualize my creative urge at the time, and still to this day. A lot of artists say that they are interested or approach the human condition, but I think we all do, and the human condition is perhaps too broad and therefore too vague to refer to it like that. And I think I was quickly aware that I was fascinated by a particular aspect of that human condition, which is a bit more of an anthropological perspective. If we strip away everything, our clothes, technology, phone, societal constructs, our daily activities from commuting to working, to all the accumulated knowledge that has kind of led to science and prosperity in this civilized, globalized world we live in today. If we strip all of that away, who are we truly? Are we still able to remember our nature and truly feel it, and perhaps even align and make peace with it instead of fighting and suppressing it, because these often irrational urges no longer have a function or a role, leaving us alienated in the civilized, technological and rapidly changing world? I'm convinced that that particular internal conflict touches a very profound aspect of our human nature, which we used to deal with through religion or other forms of spirituality. But if God is dead, and that's what reason does, what is the meaning of this test that is life, and all the personal struggles and fights that come with it, even if we live in prosperity? So in this series, We're All Martyrs, we encounter a kind of a syncretic presentation of that collective suffering that is normally experienced in a solitary manner, but through this painting I aim to disrupt that and make a shared experience of it. But there is also another painting that was very important here, Jean Fouquet's Madonna surrounded by seraphim and cherubim, which was painted around 1450 and is the most iconic piece at the Fine Arts Museum in Antwerp here in Belgium, the KMSKA. And for personal reasons, I'm currently very much drawn to Madonna paintings, which is arguably the most painted subject in Western art history. And this particular painting is perhaps the most original and iconic piece of all of them. But what is visually very extraordinary and rare in this painting is a depiction of the seraphim and the cherubim behind the Madonna. A very graphic presentation, which is extremely rare in oil painting at the time. It actually goes back to visual strategies in illuminated manuscripts, which in the end is also kind of the genesis of painting and art history. And the red and blue distinguish each category, kind of the cherubim and the seraphim. And with Luc Tuymans' painting in mind, Polarization, based on data visualization by Mauro Martino, painting of 2021, or at least 4 paintings, showing blue and red dots once more, kind of creating a visualization of grouping people per color, dividing them, and how there is this tendency of polarization, which is also something that I'm very, very concerned with. So this made me not only contemplate the politicization of color, but also realize this concept that I need to revisit this series of We Are All Martyrs with these complementary colors for aesthetic purposes, because of the experience becomes simply more intense when the colors clash so strongly together, but also for conceptual reasons. Complementary colors do not only reinforce one another when you experience them next to each other, when they overlap or clash, they become black. So in opposites, and if we are completely polarized and clash is imminent, there is darkness. And this is precisely what I intend to do with this painting, which is in the end a very critical comment that arises from increasing social concerns due to globalization. We are not meant to experience the pain, sorrow and anger of the entire world, yet it is brought to us through our phones and the streets of peaceful countries being filled with hate and anger, resulting in more polarization, which will result in more conflict and more darkness. Red and blue figures tremble in this primal state between ecstasy and despair, exhilaration and alienation. The narrow format and the composition stacking the figures creates a poignant sense of urgency, an almost claustrophobic sense of urgency. It also creates a rhythm with an acceleration upward, one that I'm most fearful of, because devoured by divide, we are all martyrs.